Greetings! Welcome to Bruce's Eclectic World. Today I want to talk about scripts. Specifically ones that I use to do my backups and my syncing of computers. Kind of where I got the inspiration from. Can anybody guess what OS I'm running? Anybody? Bueller? How about the guy back there in the corner? You up front there. Oh, come on. It's obvious. Yes, it's Exnix Easy Archer. I have my window manager, left WM installed on it, all my scripts, my settings, and yes, Cinnamon is installed on the back end. Thought I better throw that out there because somebody's going to say down in the comments, I thought you used Cinnamon. Yes, because I like the utilities, but I also like window managers. Anyway, today we're going to talk about scripting. A little history on where we kind of started from. Ubuntu 16.04 came out in 2016. November of 2016, I started using it, and I played with it on and off. So were other distros I installed on hardware. And then I came across Joe Collins's YouTube channel. Very, very easy listening guy. Great sense of humor. And he's also a DJ, by the way. He has all kinds of different videos, scripts that he's wrote. He even makes funny faces. Long time before he ever showed his face. He's a very knowledgeable person. I suggest you go to his YouTube channel. Look at all his videos. He's also into music. Got a lot of music hardware, albums, stuff he talks about. Being a DJ, I guess you do kind of like music, huh? But he got me stuck on Linux Mint, because that was one of his things he talked about a lot. And he uses. He switches back and forth between Ubuntu and Mint 99% of the time. So I started out with 1703 Rosa, which came out in December 2015. And I started on it around January 2017-ish. Well, maybe a little sooner than that. But at any rate, it wasn't too long I was on that. Then 18.1 came out, then 18.2, and then 18.3. Well, 18.3 was the one I changed to. That was in November 2017 for the Cinnamon version. So watching Joe's YouTube channels, he got me looking at bunches of scripts and stuff, and he has a Easy Linux website, and he even mentioned this in his last Linux video, Linux Mint video recently. But he has all kinds of different scripts, backup, CYA, which this backups your root partition, where backup just backs up the user data. And he has up for updating Ubuntu flavored systems, and lots of other things. But this is the one we're going to focus on today, because he also had a script called XBT, External Backup Tool, which is what I still use. He no longer develops it. It's archived on his GitHub page, which I'm sure he has a link to on his website. But with that said, I've adapted it to my needs for the things that I do with it. And yes, I learned a lot of it from Joe in order to learn how to edit it, because of all his videos. And then we got DT and Chris Titus Tech and Esnix OS and OTB and the Linux Dabbler, and the list goes on. People that I've learned from. And yes, I'm a hillbilly. I didn't learn anything, I learned it. With that said, we went to I want to talk about XBT. It's and BU are the pretty much the same script, except BU doesn't show all the text going by from rsync, where XBT does, because I like watching that. Yes, I could have changed the BU, but he made some other changes that it's okay, but I got used to XBT, and that's the way I use it. I modified it for myself, but both of them back up to an external USB drive. They will also go out and update and look for the dependencies that it needs. And it goes down through here, and once you plug in the USB drive, it'll say, oh, no USB drive found, or XBT drive found. Do you want to create one on the USB drive we found? And you answer yes, and it goes through and formats the drive and partitions it and names it XBT drive or BU drive, and then it's ready to use. Let me find the menu here. Then use just the top menu. But you can see here, it'll do a backup of your home partition. It'll restore it. You can set up an XBT drive. You can get some help. You can use a log, because it creates a log on the external USB drive. So that way, if there's any errors, you can kind of look at and see maybe what it was and fix it. Of course, then refresh the USB status and then exit. It's a very simple program, very powerful. Like I said, it uses the rsync with a bunch of commands. And it goes through and it does it twice just to make sure that it has it. And it does error checking and all kinds of things. The one small issue with XBT was that it did not work on drives over 2 terabyte, and I found that out recently. But the BU program he wrote does, so I used that partitioning scheme, put it in XBT, and that's perfect for me. Yeah. And so I created a version for Arch, and I have the version that I created for Ubuntu systems. This works on all Arch systems. I created, because here's the section that it uses to back up your home and stuff, and I put in excludes that he didn't use. I made one for my media server because I have several drives in it. Let's do this. Nope. This is Sublime, by the way. This is how long this is. There we go. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drives in my media server, and I backed them all up to an external backup drives. Each one of these has their own backup drive. So I'm not going to lose any of all my videos or my music because it's all on here. And then the music is backed up on the main server, which has its own backup. This is all done with XBT and rsync. There are fine programs that Learn Linux TV has put out. One of them being Syncit, to use to sync your drives back and forth and your computers. Very complicated program. I played with it for a while. I'll stick with XBT and whatnot, but it's a good program. Jay has a lot of good videos too. I suggest you check out his channel, subscribe to it too, along with Esnix OS and Joe Collins and just I have a list on my channel, so you just click on them, subscribe to them. They're all good. You'll like it. You'll be glad you did. And yes, I know there's other ways of doing backups and whatnot. There's Time Shift. I don't use it. It's a good program, which Cinnamon Linux Mint took over and has incorporated several new changes to it. I have used it in the past. It's a great secondary, in my opinion, secondary backup system. If you stick in a USB drive, then you can restore your system from that saved data. Check out Switch to Linux for his latest video on that. He did a real good job on explaining how that works. Better than I'm going to try. So go over to Switch to Linux. Give him a look at too. With that said, we're going to go back over here to 2 programs that Joe wrote. One of them was Syncall, where he used it to sync 2 of his computers. And then he wrote, Syncit, then he wrote Syncall. So he has 3 or 4 computers on a network. I have 6 or 8. So he wrote this program to transfer data from one machine to all the others. So no matter where he sets down and edits the file, he just runs this and it syncs it back up to all the other computers. So everything's the same on all the computers. A couple little caveats with this. You have to have your SSH set up to use keys on each machine, not passwords. Trust me, you don't want to type password 100 different times, depending on how many you're syncing to or from. Yeah. So you need to make sure you set up your SSH to function with keys. That's beyond the scope of this video. Check out Joe Collins or Learn Linux TV or Switch to Linux. They do much better job than I describing how to do that, because I had to watch their videos in order to set mine up. Because up till now, I've never used SSH much other than to log into a computer and run a backup. So I just typed my password twice and I was done. Now I don't even have to do that because of this. So I took this program that he wrote, and it goes down through here and does it uses a variable, and you put in your IP address for your network. You don't put the last 2 or 3 or however many characters you use on the end. You put it down here in this variable, and then his script comes down and reads this variable, so it'll transfer to all these machines. If you have these all commented out, it'll transfer between the 2, back and forth. Oopsie. What I did was I went and created Syncall Starfleet, and yes, I kept the name Syncall and added my Starfleet on the end of it, because yes, everybody knows I'm a Star Trek fan. All my computers are named after starships and space stations and planets and whatnot. But I left it in here, and I put Joe's name right in here. There's the author of the program. And one thing I want to say is, if you use any piece of code or software or part of an ISO image software, or you use somebody else's project, give that author credit in your notes at the top. A lot of people don't even put those in. I do. A lot of people do. But at least don't be a sleazebag. Give that person credit for the work they did that you're using. That's like, Easy Archer Project. He tells you how to make your own ISO, gives you all the tools to use, hundreds of videos on how to do everything. But then you create it and you don't change anything inside of it, but then you call it Joe Blow's ISO. Well, and you don't give him credit for the work. That's just not called for. Uncalled for. No, don't do that. Don't be a sleazebag. Give the author credit. So I'm gonna get out of that soapbox. I'll be on it for 2 days or longer. So anyway, back to my syncing project. Just like my XBT backup, where I back up everything to USB drives, Syncall backs it up to different machines, or syncs the machines back and forth with rsync. And the way he's got this written, it goes down through and it looks for the 2 dependencies that it needs, and it tells you that they need to be installed if they're not there. Everybody has IP and rsync installed. He originally used ifconfig, but that's been deprecated, no longer being used. So I went back and changed it to IP. Made the necessary adjustments to the script for that. But it goes down through and it looks for each machine to see if it's online. If that machine is online, then whatever you're syncing from, it will sync to that. So everything that you got on this machine, you want to sync it from here to here. And that's what this does. So if you have 6 computers set up in this, it'll go out and look for that computer. If it's online, it'll sync to it. If not, it skips it. Then it goes to the next one. Does the same thing. And on and on and on. Very interesting program the way he wrote it. So what I did was, I went through and I copied the whole shebang and made different sections. Shut up, Moto. I can say that because it's a Moto phone. But as you can see, I have my IP set up. And then, this is the server, the Delft 359, Cheyenne TV. As you can see, I go through here, and there's my last 2 digits. And it goes out and looks at every one of those. And when it does that, it goes up here and it uses our sync, and it syncs everything in this folder from whatever machine you started from. So if I started it from 05, then it goes through the list and syncs everything from 05 to everything. If I start at 13, then it syncs everything from 13 to everything else. I think you follow me. If not, sorry. But what I like about this is so granular. Is that the word? Yeah, minute ways of doing things. Where the Syncit sync thing, sorry, too many S's, was a little more of a broad thing. I'm sure there was ways of doing it a little more granular. I just did not understand how to do it. That's why it's a little more complicated program for my hillbilly brain. After all, I am 68, so yeah. But that's what this does. So I just created each section that I wanted to. And here's the menu that I created. And this is a what do they call it? A choice document, here document. One of those document things. But this is the one that came with Joe's Syncall, and I just expanded it. Now, something I want to talk about. You see a big warning box here. Well, excuse me, there's a reason for all this. I mount my documents folder and my music folders off of the server through Samba to each computer. They're not local on local computers. They're on the network. So when you're syncing this, the delete switch will delete anything that's not on the other computer. So if you don't have it on this computer and it's on that computer and it sees it, it deletes it. That's the only problem with this, doing it this way. So let me see if I can explain this a little better. So if I just unmount the drives on, say, 05, and I'm syncing to 06, 7, and 8, that document folder is now empty because I unmounted it. RSync sees that there are folders with stuff in them that are not on 05. So 06, 07, it starts deleting those folders, the document folder. And it's deleting it off the server. Ask me how I know that. Twice. Well, and once for the music, so yeah. So I found out the easy way. That's why I do backups a lot, especially when I get ready to do scripting. I do a backup of everything. So if I do oops, it's it's only one day's stuff lost, no big deal. I can rewrite the script. So with that said, you gotta watch doing this. So what I did was, I have these two sections here to unmount the drives, and you have to unmount it on all the computers that you're going to sync to, no matter which one you're syncing from. If you're going to sync, sometimes I do save stuff in the document folder on each computer. I really could leave this out and it'd be okay, but I thought, well, I'll put that in there in case I want to put certain documents in certain folders, or sync the smaller folders instead of having everything in the master folder, because it gets quite hard to find things sometimes, to be honest. So that's why I save on the local machines. But then I thought, well, I'll sync the local machines. But doing it this way, you got to really be careful. Like I said, if you do not disable the bounded drives on every computer, it'll wipe the server clean. Oopsie. So I made these here to in the menu item to unmount it and then sync the drive only, document drive only, and then remount the drive afterwards. So you have to go back to remount all the drives on all the computers. Of course, the optimal thing to do would be don't sync the document folders at all. But, you know, hey, it's a challenge. What I did was when you press number 3, which is the docs right here, it goes down and reads this menu item, and it pulls up, did you disable all the master document folders on all the computers? I should have put on there dumbass. But I did not, because I might put this out on my GitHub and kind of want to keep it clean-ish. So you have 3 times that you have to do something in order to do that. Back up on the documents, syncing on the documents folders. Otherwise, you hit yes and bam, it goes out and does it. And trust me, once you see that delete start popping up on the screen, it's all over. You can't stop it. It's done history. Yeah, I sit there with my mouth hanging on the desk a couple of times going, oh no. But we'll show you how this works in action here in a minute. But I just went down through it and copied that first section and did it over and over and over again for everything. Here's the one for the documents. And you go down here and see if you sync to these 3 machines, you want to make sure the mounted drives are undone on all 3 of those. Yeah. Just a warning. Then here's syncing the server, where I sync certain other things. Is up here in the menu. I guess I should have went through that just a little better. If I find it again. Because I sync my GitHub and GitLab projects and my OBS and YouTube videos to the main server, and then I sync only the OBS videos from the Stargazer to the Terrac and EndeavorOS only. So I only sync it one way, because if I make changes on one and not the other, I delete the videos. Ask me how I know that one. And then I sync all my Git repos between the 3 machines. That way, I always have a backup of what I'm doing. Because, you know, oops, this happened. I do it all the time, so I'm sure everybody else does. But then, like I said, it's just once you sit down and use it, it's a simple program. So as I said, let's go take a look at it. So let's switch over here to a terminal. And this is terminal driven. For those people that, oh my God, it's a scary terminal. Oh no. It's alright, don't worry about it. It's all good. And yes, I hit the up arrow key to bring it up because I had it running a while ago. As you can see, the line above it says, goodbye, Bruce. Anyway, you type that in and hit enter. And here is that same menu that we were looking at prior. So if I want to sync everything from the main folder that I use to transfer files, especially this script, back and forth from the other computers, I just hit 1. And there it goes to do its thing. So it's checking to see if number 3 is online. If so, then it's, or the server, then it's looking at it. If it's there, then it's doing its syncing thing. And normally it does it pretty fast, but I have a pause in there for 2 seconds because I'm old and half blind and can't see and can hardly walk. But I don't know what that's got to do with it. But I want to see what it's doing because I'm one of those people. That's like when the computer boots, you know, you have all that stuff going by. A lot of people don't like that. Myself, I do. And that's kind of one of my problems with Mint. It doesn't show that unless you put the switches in. Now see there, it found a new version that synced it. Because I haven't done this for a while. That's an update I made. That system didn't have it. But that's what it does. So it's now done number 13. And there we're all done. And it comes back to the menu. So I can do the same thing for 5, 6, and 7. Like I said, 3 is the main issue. So we're going to show you what it does. So if I hit 3, you see the menu pop up down there at the bottom. Did you disable all the master document folders on all the network computers you're going to sync? You better have done that before you answer yes. Otherwise you answer no. Hit enter and it takes you back to the master menu. So you have to do 3 different things in order to sync the master documents. Or sync the document folders, I should say, not the master documents. And you have to unmount the drive. You have to hit 3. Then you have to hit yes again. And then hit enter. So, yeah. That's all I have today. Took a while to do this. So I haven't been around on the YouTubes much. I've got 4 other videos I'm working on. That 3 of them I got done. I just got to get them processed. Run through Caden Live and all that YouTubey stuff. And speaking of that, don't forget to do this. I don't want to do it. Oh, I want to show you something. Yeah. It didn't do the error checking. Oh, well, sometimes it goes and does the error checking. I don't know why it didn't do that. Interesting. There we go. That's the one I wanted. Fingers, keyboards, brain. Don't always all work together. But anyway, thank you for watching Bruce's Eclectic World. Be sure to do that. Be kind to your neighbors. Be kind to people you meet on the street. You never know if you're going to see them again because of all the poxes and the sea things and human malware. And I recently lost a fellow classmate. He's my age. So like I said, you never know when you're going to see them again. Always be kind. God bless. Take care. And once again, thank you for watching Bruce's Eclectic World. Bye.